Hyper-V, okay. So these are the example of your hypervisor, and on top of this you have the virtual machine, right? Now, two virtual machines are there. In the one virtual machine, you have the guest operating system like Windows is there. On top of this, the Windows beans and libraries are there. On top of this, you have created different services or the applications. Okay, and another virtual machine is there. Guest OS is there. Suppose Linux, then beans and libraries, and on top of it, you have multiple number of services. So here one service is there, here another service is there. Now the question is, you have created, this service is basically one application. Suppose one web application you have created. Web application you have created for your customer. Web application you have created for your customer. Now when entire web application is being created, now when we will go for the deployment of that web application in the customer side, you'll find out that okay, you have built this one in the Linux platform. Now your customer has Windows platform. Now in the Windows it is not working. Or suppose the customer has Linux, but the separate Linux. Like here you have the Ubuntu Linux, customer has Sudo Linux. Now what will happen? It is not going to work. Again, what you have to do that you have to change in your software so that it should be compatible with your customers. And after that, it will take another 1 to 2 months. And after that, you have to deliver it to the customers. Okay. Now, if the customers again migrate from one Linux to another Linux, that again it will not work, because whatever services or software you have created, that is actually built on top of a particular beans or library files of the operating system. Yes or no? अगर कुछ वेब एप्लीकेशन आपने क्रिएट किया, वो कस्टमर साइट में जाकर अगर करने जाएंगे तो नहीं हो रहा है, कस्टमर बोलेगा तो मुझे तो सॉफ्टवेयर चाहिए, आपने सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं दे रहे हैं। आप बोलेंगे नहीं, मेरा सिस्टम में तो सॉफ्टवेयर अच्छी तरह से चल रहा है, आपका सिस्टम में क्यों नहीं चल रहा है मुझे मालूम नहीं है। तो ऐसा करोगे तो कस्टमर आपको पैसा देगा? गिव मी द आंसर।
नहीं देगा सर।
So for that, the Docker and container concept comes. What is there? You in the Docker, what will happen that you have the infrastructure. On top of it, you have your operating system, and on top of it, either it may be hypervisor or it may be your Docker. You want Docker engine will be created. Docker engine. One Docker engine will be created. Docker, this name has come from the dock. Have you seen that ship dockyard where different docks are there? Docks are the landing site on which you have different containers are there. And what you have to do that? You have to put your containers in the ship only. So this is basically your Docker. And on top of the Docker, you have multiple number of containers. आप लोग मूवी में देखे हो ना कि different containers are there in the shipyard, बड़ा-बड़ा containers है. Have you seen it or not?
हाँ सर देखा।
So same concept here they made it, means that on top of your operating system they will create one Docker engine. Now the concept of creating the Docker engine is like that. Whenever on top of the Docker engine, you will create different containers. Okay. Now on that container, you will create your web application or whatever software you want to build. Now what the container will do that, for that web application, whatever the beans or library files are required, it will make a package of the beans and library files with the software itself. So that, and they will create a simple package of that container in such a manner that if you take this container out of your system and put it in another system, irrespective of what type of operating system is running on that system, it is not dependent on the operating system. It will immediately deploy. It can be immediately executed. Why? For the execution of that software, whatever beans or library files are required. So all the beans and library files are attached with that particular container. So ultimately, you don't have to depend on the operating system. Instead of creating your software on top of the operating system, what you can do that you can create your software on a Docker engine. And after creating your software in a Docker engine as a container, you can deploy it into your customers so that there will be no issue. Is it clear to you, students? Student, is it clear? The Docker and container? Shall I explain again?
Sir, please explain again, sir.
Please repeat again.
Now, have you understood what is the disadvantage of creating an application in your local machine or in a virtual machine? Is this clear to you?
Yes, sir.
If you create an application in your local machine or in a virtual machine, what are the problems will be created? First problem is that if the application runs in your system properly, but it may not run in the customer side. ऐसा प्रॉब्लम हुआ लास्ट सेमिस्टर में IBM से एक प्रोजेक्ट मिला तुम्हारा सीनियर को and they have done this project and it is working fine in our local machine. Even when the IBM persons have came to our campus, we have shown this project and it is working fine. But whenever we are sending this project to IBM side, they are telling that okay, in our side it is the Mac machine. So in the Mac machine it is not working properly. They are telling repeatedly कि मेरा system में तो चल रहा है आपका system में क्यों नहीं चल रहा है? But they are not convinced and they have not given the certificate. And this is a true incident. They will check that whether it will run in every machine or not, every system or not. So for that, what we have to do that? We have to deploy our system, deploy our application on a container. And that container can run on top of a Docker engine. Docker engine is a platform. On top of it, a container which will contain the necessary library file or the beans file or the kernels or the system software portion which is required to run your application or services. That application may be a web application, that application may be a mobile application, that application may be weather report small software, or that application may be an ERP software, whatever it may be. So for the ERP software, I may require the MySQL. So MySQL will also be attached with this one. I require PHP. PHP will also be attached with this one. And for PHP MySQL connectivity, if you require any library file, that will also be there in that particular container. So everything will be packaged with your services. Means that the container will contain your software as well as the container will contain all the library and patches and beans file that are required to run your software also. And if you take this container from one place and put it in other machine, it will work fine. There will be no issue. You got it? You can write the definition. I am telling you the definition. If you have pen and paper, please write the definition. Write down a Docker container image is a lightweight. A Docker container image is a lightweight, standalone, executable package of software Shall I repeat?
Yes, sir.
Students, are you writing? Shall I repeat?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A Docker container image is a lightweight, standalone, executable package of software that includes everything needed to run an application. Full stop. To run an application. Okay, so this is all about Docker and container. So I will try to have this experiment in your lab. I'll try to include this experiment in your lab. So what yeah, are the labs that I have done till now? What was the last experiment that I have done?
Sir,
Sir,
cloud
Cloud9.
nine, sir.
Cloud9, right? Okay, okay. Okay. So is there any other question?
Sir,
Hmm.
can two user can use the container at the same time?
Can repeat it
Can
again?
multiple user can use the same container at the same time?
That means you are asking for collaborative approach within a container.
No, sir, can it be distributed? Like
No, it can be distributed. Means whatever container you have done, so just copy it and paste it in your machine, and it will start running. There will be no issue. Now, what is your question? That at the time of development, can multiple user can work on the same container? That is your question?
yeah, yes sir, yes sir.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because it will be created in a distributed manner. मुझे फिर भी देखना पड़ेगा can it be done in a collaborative manner or not. But once it has been created, after that you can put it anywhere as a portable package.
Okay, sir.
Is there any other question? Hello? If there is no question, then I am going to ask you a question. Then what is Elastic Beanstalk? AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Who can answer? Ben? Abdul? Vivek?
Sir,
Ditiman?
sir,
Ditiman.
elastic bin is
Okay.
no, sir, Abdul, sir, Abdul, sir. Sir, elastic bin stack is used for deploying and scaling web application.
Web application.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is Amazon Route 53? What is Route 53? Nilavo? Prabhojyoti?
Sir, it's actually like every app needs a domain, of course. So the Route 53 is like it's a domain register where you can use it to register your new domain and manage any existing domains also.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Raju, please note down the names. Okay. And what is Amazon Glacier? David? Faiz?
So basically, it's a service which is used to store the data which are not used frequently.
Okay. What is Amazon EMR? Ramesh, Kondam, Faiz, Fardin, Keshavi, Joita,
Sir,
Bolo Keshavi.
sir, it helps in easy to quickly and effectively process vast amount of data.
Not data, it's basically a text mining application. I have given one example of Indian Railway where you will find out that for 5,000 applications, 5,000 posts, there will be more than 3 lakhs application will be submitted. Is submitted. Now, in that case, is it possible to check and monitor regarding the eligibility criteria of all the 5 lakhs applications? It will take more than 30 days if at least 10% are working. Huh. So that case, what they do that they are taking the online applications, and after that they make that text mining through a EMR type of services. Actually, what is the full form of EMR?
The elastic, Amazon
Elastic
Elastic
map
Map Reduce.
Amazon Elastic Map Reduce. So it basically do the map reduce technique. Okay. Now, what is Amazon Quick Site? Joita, Santosh Kumar, Harshit, Doshar Padung, Dipendra Chetri, Easy.
Sir, it is a business intelligence tool.
Huh?
It's
Tell
a
me.
it's a business intelligence tool having its own machine learning capacity.
No, business in what do you mean by business intelligence tool?
So it is a cloud serverless application. Like
अरे तुम गूगल छोड़ के बात करो ना, तुम तो गूगल खोल के बैठ के बोल रहे हो. Whatever you have understood, you tell that one only. Business intelligence tool, I understand. What type of business intelligence tool? It's basically show you some graphical interface. It will show you some visualization so that it will help you to take the decision. आप लोग तो विजुअलाइजेशन के लिए क्या करते हो? माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एक्सेल में देखते हो ना, different graphs are coming, but it will also show you graphs, but that graphs will be a unique graph which will help you to take the decision, like Tableau or Power BI or Cognos are there. So Amazon also has its own graphical representational tools are available with it. Okay. Now, what is Amazon Cognito? Dipendra, Kushal Padu, Gopal Kanwar, Harshit, Easy. Easy, you are not responding for few days. What happens to you? Jai Prakash, Kelvin, what is Amazon Cognito? Anybody who can answer it?
Sir, it is
Sir, it
used
is
as a
used for
security.
mobile authentication and authorization.
Yeah, it will give you the authentication and authorization in your mobile apps. Okay, fine. And what is Amazon Pinpoint?
Sir, it points eligible customers.
So
It
used
points
for digital marketing
it
purposes.
is used for digital marketing. It points the eligible. How to find out the eligible customer? So first, it will check that the for your product, what age group is the target audience, and from that, suppose the age group is 20 to 25. From that, they will check that the male or female, or from that they will check that whether the college goers or businessman. And from the college goers also they check that whether they need the engineering college goers or business college goers. So based on this, they pinpoint the customers, and after that they target the customers. have discussed about the missional services. Now I am going to discuss a little bit about the developer tools, management tools, security and identity app services. Okay, so in the developer tools, for the developers, one is that is Cloud9. Actually, basically, Amazon AWS code commit, whatever you can see, code deploy, code pipeline, code build, X-ray, all are now packaged in Cloud9. Code commit is basically to execute your code. What are the supports required? Means that for collaborative effort, so everything will be provided in the code commit. Collaboration, collaborative effort, and also for your code execution, what are the supports are required. Code deploy. Suppose if I need to deploy my code immediately, that case, what are the beans or library files are required, like your dockers and containers that you have seen. So all those library files will be collected together and that will create one container so that your code can be immediately deployed. Code pipeline will basically decide that if you have multiple numbers of application, one application is the finance application, another application is the suppose examination application, another application is the student database application. Now in your actual ERP module, you have to deploy the examination, then finance and the student database, everything, right? Now for finance, you have some code, for examination you have some code, and for student database you have some code. Now what should be the sequence of code, means what should be executed after one another, so that sequence it will create, and so that all the codes can run simultaneously without any hassle. And AWS X-ray is a very good application right now. This application has been changed its name with Code Guru. AWS Code Guru. So basically it will check that suppose your application is not running properly. There is a problem in your code. Problem means, can you see my screen, student? Students, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, again I got disconnected actually from my iPad. Let me connect it first. Just a minute. By this time, if you have any query, you can ask me. Now I think the screens are again visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so AWS X-ray is right now renamed as Code Guru. So what it will do that if you are there is any not syntax error, there is some logical error is there. So your code is giving wrong output. That case, it will check and it will suggest you what type of problem may happen in your code. Or suppose you have integrated multiple numbers of module in your big software. So at the time of integration, sometimes you will find out that the data flow is not proper. So that case also Code Guru right now, the earlier it was AWS X-ray. So we would help you that whether the codes are running properly from one module to another module or not. So these are the basic function of your Code Guru. Okay. Next is the management tool. You know about the AWS CloudWatch, then AWS CloudFormation. AWS CloudFormation is basically used to store the multimedia data. Means suppose for the surveillance data, for surveillance data analysis, we use Kinesis, right? But somewhere we need to store the data. For storing the data, we use CloudFormation. Okay, so we use CloudFormation. Next is for the security purpose, we have the AWS Identity and Access Management. You know what is Identity and Access Management, IAM? Have you ever used AWS IAM whenever I have given you the AWS Educate account? Have you ever used AWS IAM?
Yes, sir.
Huh? So what is the meaning of IAM? IAM full form is Identity and Access Management. So it will basically, suppose for a company has taken the AWS account. Okay. Now this company has an AWS account and they have migrated their entire IT infrastructure in this AWS. Now for that, AWS will give you how many account ID and password. If you create an AWS account, they will give you only one ID and password, right? Now for maintaining your entire IT infrastructure, so they have to maintain with through only this ID and password. Is it possible? Because if everybody try to enter with that particular ID and password, so they will not be allowed to enter into that account simultaneously. Only one person at a time can enter into your account. The rest of them, how they can access the entire IT infrastructure? So that case, what will happen that ID and password will be with the admin. Now, admin, suppose the company has 10 employees. Admin will give them the authorization, they give them access through IAM, Identity and Access Management. Each of them, it will say, create one IAM policy and each of them will be given one IAM name. Now, with that IAM name, what will be there? It will be there that if with my AWS account, if multiple number of services are there, which services you are allowed to access. And allowed to access means what type of access? Read access or read write access. So it will create the privilege of your access also. So that if you are allowed to give the access of some of the services, you will not be allowed to access the other services for which you are not eligible. You got my point? Students, you got my point? Or shall I need to repeat it again?
So please repeat it again.
So what I wanted to say is that in your identity and access management will be given by the admin of the company who is under the control of your entire IT infrastructure. Now, under this admin, there are suppose 10 employees. Now, the 10 employees, the employee will create one identity and access management and give that identity and access management to that employee. Now, with that identity and access management, you can access your the same account, but in a restricted manner. Means that within that AWS account, if there are 10 applications there under this company, so you will be given suppose 2 applications access, and the rest of the application access will be distributed to the other employees. Now, you can access only these two applications. Rest of the applications will not be visible to you. Suppose here you don't have to enter into your AWS account through the IAM number, Identity Access Management. Why? Because you are utilizing as a student, so you are as a single user. So you will be the root user. You don't require the ID and password. Sorry, IAM number. But I have a management console. I am sharing my management console account dashboard to you, so that it will be clear to you a little bit about the identity and access management. Just a minute. Can you see my screen now? Now here you can see that, yeah, for the sign-in option, I have a two sign-in option. One is the root user or IAM user. So if I give IAM user, that case I have to give the account ID or the account alias. Means the 12-digit account ID I have to provide, which have been provided to me by the admin of that company. So I don't have any admin, I don't have any company. Okay, so I have to sign in with my root user. After signing with my root user, if I can give the IAM access to some, I can create the IAM policy for the other user. Suppose under me, if I depute Harshit and Raju to work in an AWS application, that case I can set the IAM policy for Harshit and Raju. And whenever I will set the IAM policy, I have to mention that on which application I should give them the access. As well as I have to provide them the read-write access also. Now, whenever I will provide them, one IAM address will be created against them. That IAM address I should share it with Raju and Harshit. Now, Raju and Harshit क्या करेगा? वो जब AWS Management Console में आएगा, then they have to use that IAM user and they have to give that IAM access ID that have been provided by me. Now, is this clear, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, what are the other services? Like the directory services, these are not required for you. You just only remember that AWS developer tools, then CloudWatch, service catalog, then identity and access management. Okay, so these services also you need to know. That is SNS, SES, SQS, and SWF. SNS is the simple notification services that you can create. Suppose you want to send common mail or common SMS to all the users, a particular user. Suppose all the students, I want to send a common SMS that today at 4:30 p.m. you have the lab. So That I can do using that simple Amazon SNS, simple notification services. Notification means I can put it as a custom notification that comes to your mobile, or I can put it as a simple mail services, or I can put it as a simple SMS services. And their charge is very minimal. For 1 million message, 1 million or half million, sorry, half million message means for 5 lakh message, they, sorry, for 1 million message, for 1 million message means 10 lakh message, they will charge only $0.50.
Sir, sir, is
Follow?
sir, Amazon Pinpoint uses these services, or it has its own?
No, in case of Pinpoint, yeah, it's a very good question. The difference between the SNS and the Pinpoint is that in case of Pinpoint, it will identify the customers based on their choice, likes and dislikes and profiles. And after that, you can send the message to Amazon SNS. It is not like that one services is a single self-reliant services. Each of the services has to take the help of the other services. Means that for Amazon SNS, I may have to take the help of Amazon Pinpoint to identify the customer base. It's a good question. Okay. Similarly, SQS is the simple query services, and SES is the simple email services. So please go through, and the website also, you will, if you Google it, you will get all the service details. Please go through all the service details. Next day I will ask questions on the service details again.